A Man Called Possum, written by Max Jones, narrated by Graeme Goodings. Foreword. The mourners, more than 200 of them, had come from far and wide. The 3 states that border the mighty Murray, Victoria, New South Wales and South Australia, were all well represented. News crews from the major television stations and radio networks, along with newspaper journalists, mingled with the local dignitaries, business people and farmers. It was not unlike any funeral for a well-known and popular identity. But the funeral of David James Jones on that August morning was different. Yes, not everyone is buried in a small private graveyard, but it was more than that. Of those that had come to pay their last respects, only a handful had ever even seen the man known as Possum, let alone had ever spoken to him. Such was his appeal, the mourners were openly moved by the passing of a man on whom the title legend rests easily, although he'd have never wanted it that way. However, a man who shunned society to live a life totally alone for more than 50 years can't help but stir the imaginations of those of us who lead lives that seem positively mundane by comparison. As the simple but no less heartfelt ceremony progressed, it became apparent that the person with more reason to be there than anyone was missing. That man, retired Police Detective Sergeant Max Jones. Max Jones had more contact with the possum over 30 years than any other human, but he was travelling in North Queensland and unable to get back in time for the funeral. After a wary meeting back in the 50s, Max Jones developed a rapport with the possum that gave us an insight into a man whose pride led him to do something that seems inconceivable in a world on the verge of the 21st century. Although their meetings took place years apart at times, Max Jones, in true detective fashion, was able to keep track of the bush recluse, offering help when necessary and having the wisdom to respect the possum's fierce independence. So while this is a story of David James Jones, the possum, it also tells us a lot about Max Jones, no relation, a man who in his time in the police force as a detective sergeant based in Renmark, South Australia, also showed a special quality. In the case of Possum, it reveals Max's understanding of the human spirit, and that as long as it's not to the detriment of others, it must be allowed to roam free. Graeme Goodings, Eyewitness Newsreader, Channel 10 Adelaide, and later 7 News presenter. The Mystery Man. I was transferred from the Adelaide Criminal Investigation Branch to Renmark on the 4th of August 1954, and I immediately liked the place and the people. I was married with 3 children, 2 girls and a boy, their ages 10, 7 and 5.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?